The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn, ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn, tell people to stay off the lawn, compare it to your neighbor's lawn, and complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Welcome back to the Russo-Souhan Show. We kind of missed a few days there, but we are back on our normal schedule. I'm going to London later this week, so it'll be another week before we can get back together. And let's just dive right in here, Michael. I'm here with Michael Russo. I'm Jim Souhan. This is our network, mnspn.com, the Mixed Sports Radio page, Facebook page, excuse me. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach Scott Yell, SCOTTYELLE at gmail.com. Last week we had 1.3 million ad impressions. It's a great way to reach a lot of people. Thanks to twillmn.com. That's Twill in the United Galleria. Fixologyrepair.com. I was actually at Fixology in the Mall of America the other day. I'll tell you about that. And crownbank.com, crown-bank.com, our longest running sponsors. What's up with Zach Parise?
Very likely going to have back surgery, I believe, as early as Tuesday morning. I just reported on The Athletic. And you know, I think that Zach has tried to rehab, do this basically from a standpoint of doing every option that he possibly could exhaust before making this decision, and I believe this decision has been made. It is a herniated disc that is compressing a nerve in the lower portion of his back.
I thought it wasn't his back.
Well, technically, he didn't lie. What I've been told is he's had almost no back pain. It's all, and this is really sad, but it's been unbelievable, excruciating pain in one of his legs, and it's been persistent and constant, especially the last week. Apparently, the setbacks that he was having when he would have pain, they would eventually go away, and he'd be able to skate and fine. And then sometimes it would creep back in. Now it's just not going away, and so now this is the decision to be made. And, a couple years ago, I looked back at all my reports, and when he was having the herniated disc, the reports were that he had numbness in his leg and didn't have any strength in his leg, but now I'm hearing it's pain. So that's obviously, and what happened in last Monday's practice, I'm told by sources, is that nerve did flare up and started this started compressing on the nerve, and that's what basically happened in practice. So I do think that we are going to find out on Tuesday or Wednesday that he had back surgery, most likely on Tuesday. And the good news on this, I've kind of bury the lead, is that this isn't going to potentially, what I'm told is that this shouldn't sideline him for the season, that this would keep him out 6 to 8 weeks, that he would have to be pretty much limited the next month, can't skate at all. Then he can get on the ice and skate, can't shoot pucks, can't take contact for the 2 weeks following that, and then he could be potentially ready for game action in 2 months. And 2 months from Tuesday is what is that? Pretty much after Christmas. So
yes,
yeah. So
yes.
That's what the hope is.
I'm looking at my calendar right now. That would be the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
Correct.
And what's interesting is the middle of November, and this isn't good, middle of November to, really the middle of December, the Wild play, they pretty much play their March schedule of last year. It's like something like 17 games in 33 days or something like that. So there's not a lot of practice time too. So, I don't know if that'll delay things, but the hope is that, by the end of this calendar year, early next year, that he's going to be able to debut for the Wild this season. So we'll see.
I actually think this is more good news than I would have expected. I would have thought that if Zach Parise was continuing to have back/leg problems and had to go under the knife, he might lose the entire season.
Yeah. When I first started hearing before this road trip that he was contemplating back surgery, I figured that he was done for the year as well. But what I'm told is that this is a non-invasive surgery, and that 6 to 8 weeks will probably be the timeline. Bruce Boudreau, our practice today, did say that he hopes to have an update for us on Tuesday, which leads me to believe that I'm right, that he is going to have surgery on Tuesday. But right now I haven't been able to iron that down, so I just reported that he's contemplating back surgery as early as Tuesday.
What's Bruce's mood about this?
I will say I talked to him on the road trip, and what he was just hoping for was clarity, more so from the standpoint that then he could know, do I rely upon him? Do I rely on him or not rely on him? But look, I don't think anybody's happy about losing Parise, and so this is a tough loss for the team. I do think that Jim, when they get guys back, this is sustainable. I don't think this is going to kill the organization this year, but they got to get Niederreiter back soon. They need Granlund to play Tuesday or Thursday. They when Coyle comes back, he's got to play. They can't have more mounting injuries. I genuinely think that the Wild have the depth to make the playoffs and overcome the loss of just Zach Parise. But if they're going to go, a long time without Parise, Niederreiter, and Coyle, then all of a sudden 2 more key injuries happen. And key injuries, it does have a bad smell the start of this season. It just seems like right from the beginning, there's just been weird stuff going along, starting with their schedule and all the I've never covered a game in my life where you lose 3 top forwards the way that they did in Chicago. And it does seem like they're chasing, this season. They were always going to chase based on the schedule, but now it's just like all this adversity is happening. So they won the other night in Calgary, and now they have the 6-game homestand, and it's up to the guys in that locker room to overcome this, bank some points, and get some rhythm and some rhythm in their game. Because right now, I think you play, you're off for a week. You play, you're off. You don't get any sort of rhythm into the game. But the fear of playing every day now is that you have the fear of other injuries occurring.
I have a counterpoint, and I'll offer it after I thank Twill in the Dining Galleria, twillmn.com, Twill on Instagram to see photos of all their clothing. I am actually wearing a hat that I got at Twill. It's a Johnny O hat, and I actually bought a couple of their shirts when I was there last time. I've also got some of their, I've got a bunch of their stuff, and I love it all, but the Johnny O thing is really grabbing me, and my wife actually has encouraged me to spend more money there.
Hi, I'm Stacy Souhan. I love Twill, Scott Dayton's shop in the Edina Galleria. Twill takes the stress out of shopping by offering updated traditional fashion. I know that if Jim goes in there shopping alone, I will like what he buys, whether it's pajamas, flannel shirts, or suits. I plan to recommend Twill to my daughter when she has to buy wedding party gifts and attire. Twill in the Edina Galleria will bring your fashion game to a championship level.
So counterpoint to everything you just said, Michael, is for all the angst surrounding this team and angst that has built up over years with the lack of postseason success, the fact that they kind of flopped last year, 2-2-2 isn't that terrible start when you're without Parise, is it?
No, and without Parise and Niederreiter, Coyle, and Granlund. Granlund's missed 5 games.
Yeah, I don't think the record is a problem.
Yeah. Well, look, 82 points, and that's the pace they're on, is not going to get you in the playoffs, but 92 will. And so the key is that, hey, would they love to be 4-2? Absolutely. But 2-2-2 is not great. But to do that without Niederreiter, Coyle, and 5 games of no Granlund and 6 games of no Parise, at least they got some points here. And now you come home, you've gotten past the weird, 5 games out of 6 on the road in like a month time, and you can get some traction in your game. And so that is the bright side. But look at their lineup that they've been fielding. It is amazing they won in Calgary the other day. You could see after loading up the minutes in Winnipeg and traveling, that some of their top guys not just didn't have legs, the Zuckers, the Stalls, people like that, but they their hands were tired, their brains were tired. I mean, look at how many pucks Dumba just kind of fanned on, or even that one pass where he put out of the zone. They were all kind of dead. But the one thing that was clear when they were down 2-1 in that game, the effort was not gone. They worked their absolute butt off with a lineup that had guys like Zach Mitchell and Cal O'Reilly in the lineup, and so. That was impressive. Mike Riley wasn't on the team. They played Gustav Olsson, and he played a fine game. Luke Cunnin, very good sign, played really well that night, had a couple of assists, was on the ice for the penalty kill with 3 minutes left, was on the ice for the empty net goal that Winnick scored. So, it's just hard to get chemistry when every single night you have different guys in and out of lineup, different line combinations. That night, especially in Calgary, the first period, you're killing. So not only you're tired from the night before, but you're using penalty killers and killing those legs, and they were able to win. So now it's on them. They've got to come home here. Maybe you get Granlund back on Tuesday, and now the goal is to start winning. They need better goaltending from Devin Dubnyk. They need, I liked that Boudreau split up Brodin and Dumba against Calgary. Those two have been not good, especially in Winnipeg. And so you put Dumba with Quincy that game, which was definitely a message sent, and Brodin with Olsen, and they looked really good the other night. So now I do think Riley will get in on Tuesday, and Riley's been pretty good. So, they just, now it's kind of up to them. If you can get like Koivu, Niederreiter, Koivu, Zucker, Granlund line in playing again, that'd be huge. And now you kind of spreads your lineup out a little bit more.
Is there angst in that locker room?
I would say that they're obviously not happy about their start. The one area that I would say there's probably a little angst, although I don't think the players will ever admit it, is just the fact that every day in practice you have 8-9 forwards. Today in practice, Olsen's playing up and Darby Hendrickson is playing on a wing. And, when you have, from a coach's standpoint, when you don't have a lot of guys in practice, you obviously, you don't get the guys that are coming up constantly from Iowa don't get acclimated, but then guys on the team don't get accustomed to their line mates. But the other thing is then you have the risk of exhausting these guys in practice because the reps are so plentiful. Sometimes when you have 23 guys in practice, you at least get a minute between rushes to maybe take a breath. Now you're not getting that. And so that's why Bruce has used Olsen at forward and used Darby Henderson at forward now is to just try to, get some more guys in practice. And again, just so you understand, the reason why they're doing this is because LTI is not free cap space. They have Coyle on LTI right now to be able to afford these guys when they call up, but then they send them down because that allows them to accrue cap space again up until their new ceiling, so to speak, which is about $74.9 million. But the deal is that Coyle is eventually going to be healthy, and you still only get a $75 million ceiling. So if you have all these guys taking up cap space on a daily basis, all of a sudden when Coyle's healthy, you might be projected to be over your $75 million cap, and you can't even play him. And so what's going to happen is now when Coyle's healthy, they'll probably then put Parise on LTI. But again, because Parise's not out for the year, you can't just put him on LTI forever. You're going to have to constantly keep this little lasso effect between putting guys down the minors and bringing them up and putting them down and bringing them up. Because then when Parise's healthy, and you got to assume that he's going to be, you got to be able to afford him. So this is, as Bruce has been saying, the hand that they've been dealt this season. He obviously isn't in love with it, but this is just the way they're going to have to do it. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Is this a flaw in the NHL system, or is this just the Wild paying the price for having big contracts?
Well, it is. I mean, every team, first of all, there's no team in the league of the 15 teams that were pretty much pressed within a couple million of the cap that can absorb the amount of injuries the Wild had. As I said to you on the last couple of podcasts, they almost needed a major injury to be able to survive this. That if they just continually had little groin strains and things like that, they, just imagine if Coyle didn't break his leg, where they'd be right now. They'd be short every night. I mean, it would be just awful. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, thank goodness somebody was major, but that's kind of what they needed. So there is maybe in the flaw. What I said to Bill Daly in an email that really went unreturned is that if, say, all these injuries were minor, or that you didn't know that a guy was going to miss 10 games in 24 days, and the Wild potentially were going to play short for a while, I mean, that puts other guys at risk if you're playing a game with like 9 forwards or something like the Wild almost did a couple weeks ago. So is there any sort of almost emergency exception to things like that, rather than the one game that you got to play short and then you can call guys up that make less than $750? And as I said, that email went unreturned. And Bill Dell is deputy commissioner of the NHL, by the way.
The purpose of a salary cap is to keep one team from loading up on massive contracts,
Right.
but you don't want the salary cap to keep you from fielding a competitive and entertaining team.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's the thing is, the problem is the cap hasn't gone up a ton. There was no way the Wild were going to get out of cap hell this year. I mean, there does seem a lot of misconceptions out there that it's like the Foligno and Ennis trade did this. First of all, the Wild were always going to be up against the cap because, I mean, first of all, Pominville, correct me if I'm wrong, but Pominville and Scandella combined make about $2 million more than Ennis and Foligno to begin with. So they couldn't have afforded those two. And regardless, even if you didn't even if they didn't sign Winnick and sign Cullen, then all of a sudden you'd be short that way. They were always going to have to spend to the max. This, and again, the only other way around it would have been to trade Niederreiter or Granlund this summer, or not, and not re-sign them. But their contract, their markets were the markets for those guys. So, this is just the position that this team is in, after you sign. When you have a guy like Koivu at 7.5, and you have Parise at Suter at their 7.5, and that's it. That's just the way it works. And actually Koivu at 6.75. Actually,
we'll do some Twitter questions. I'll also ask Michael. We'll try to lighten things up. I'll ask Michael if he has any good travel or coffee stories. We haven't done a travel or a coffee story in quite a while now. I do want to thank Fixology Repair, 3rd floor of the Mall of America, up by Nordstrom's. So the other day, Michael, Stacy loves her phone. She is one of those people who loves her phone. She loves doing the Facebook. She loves taking pictures of the dog. She likes that stuff. So she's at work. She dropped it or scuffed it, and she looks down. There's what looks like a crack, right? Mm-hmm. She calls me, says, all right, I'm coming home, picking you up. We're going to Fixology. Let's go get this fixed. And we called ahead to see if John Hedges was there, our friend John Hedges, who runs that Fixology. And he wasn't there, and I didn't want to bother him. So we didn't tell them we're coming in. We didn't tell them, hey, we're the people that your company advertises with. We just thought we'd just walk in and see what the deal was. So we walk in unannounced. I think we're the second people in line. We get to the line within about 20 seconds. The person running the shop that day looks at it, and Stacy's thinking, okay, I cracked the screen. It's going to be a repair. I'm going to have to send it off or something like that. Or as might happen in some businesses, they might tell me something's wrong with it. Actually isn't wrong with it. It's going to cost me money. A little bit of stress there, right? Get up there, and the guy takes one look. He goes, nope, you just, all it is like a little mark on the plastic overcover. The phone itself is fine. I could fix it for you, or you can send it in because this is on warranty. So in like 2 seconds, Stacy goes from worrying about some big bill to being told, nope, this is a nothing. You're not going to have to spend a dime on this thing. So that was our Fixology experience. I thought I would just pass that along. And for more information on Fixology Repair, fixologyrepair.com. Listen to this.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at Mall of America. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at FixologyMN on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
So do you have any travel or coffee stories?
Good question. No, I was up in Winnipeg the other day, and actually, I think I told you that's where Dogwood has their the roasters, and the owner of Dogwood actually texted me to see if I wanted to go there, but I just got swamped that day. Calgary, really, it's been boring lately. I did join.
Make up something for us?
Yeah, I know. I did get a Coffee of the Month membership. That was a gift from my brother, and that's pretty neat. So every month you get a new bag of coffee and you don't know where it is, and they kind of send you a postcard and say, this is kind of tell you where the coffee's from and what it's what its
origin story
Yeah,
is.
exactly. And so
like the
my first
Portlandia.
month was last month. It was from Kenya, and this month's blend is, I think, from Brazil. So that's pretty cool.
Reminds me.
But no.
Do you ever watch Portlandia?
No. I heard it's good though.
It's very funny. It's very subtle. It's very very low key humor, and it's probably not for everybody. But the first time somebody recommended Portlandia to me, so I watched an episode, and this guy and his girlfriend, they go into a restaurant at Portlandia, and the whole premise of the show is that Portland is the hippiest place in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these two people go into this restaurant. It's an organic restaurant, and the waitress starts reading off the menu and describing all these dishes in the way that you would imagine satire to work, right? And the couple sitting there goes, "Well, can you tell us more about this free-range chicken?" And so what was his name? Where did his parents come from? Is he comfortable? And just like go on and then they decide if they're going to eat this chicken, they need to go visit the home where this chicken. And it goes on like that.
Have you seen the new Curb Your Enthusiasms?
I have seen 2 of them.
Oh my! Yesterday's was so funny.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh
I
my God!
I thought the second one wasn't great.
Yeah, no, I thought the first couple they started to get better, but yesterday it was just honestly from the start to the pretty much the last 3 quarters. It was
What
just
does it
laugh
say
out
about
loud.
me that when I watch it, now that I'm 54 years old, when I watch Larry David in a Curb Your Enthusiasm, I go, that's the way I'd handle that.
Yeah, no, I mean
that's me.
Yesterday's episode, it's like you almost felt like the last 8 years that he wasn't doing series, like all the things that happened to him and all his reactions to certain things, he just put in that one episode. It was really funny. So yeah.
I never thought I'd identify with Larry David, but I do. Let's do some Twitter
I'm getting a
questions.
lot of questions about Parise. By the way, I will say, obviously today wasn't the greatest day for The Athletic.
We're talking here on a Monday night,
Yeah.
but for the show will probably be put out on a Tuesday morning.
And, our CEO, Alex Mathers, said some things in the New York Times that I think people were a little, didn't exactly love. And it didn't paint us on the greatest thing. And I just think we're at the point, my whole philosophy on this is that we've just got to let our content speak for itself and this awesome product they've built. And that's what should speak for itself. And that's why, to me, it's like the Parise exclusive that I had today. That's to me just what has got to speak. If you want to follow the Wild, you follow me on The Athletic, and then it's my job to essentially make this market as good as I possibly can, and not worry about kind of and that type of stuff that is I know that bothered a lot of people. So that would be my only thing on that is like I just feel like today again I at least showed people like, look, this is why you subscribed in the first place. So that's what I say on that.
All right. Well, and I'll just sound the same theme I've sounded all along. I'm very proud to work at the Star Tribune. I have a great job. I've been treated well there. I love our product. I love the breadth of our product, and I don't see why people who listen. If you are financially challenged, you can't afford either the Star Tribune or the Athletic, I'm not going to tell you should go spend your money on it. But if you're the kind of person who spends money on craft beer and expensive coffee, you can handle a subscription to the Star Tribune, and you can handle, in addition to that, a subscription to the Athletic. You can keep good journalists and in multiple formats employed and producing good stuff. It's not really that onerous a situation. So let's do some Twitter questions from Ben Branson. He's complimenting your podcast with Craig Custance. Any future plans with podcasts with hockey coworkers on the Athletic? I'm going to answer for you. No, he's going to keep doing this podcast. He's stuck with me. From BJ Bonin, discuss how Stewie went from waive him at the end of camp to Tim Kerr clone 6 games in. That's a great question because he has been on fire.
Yeah, I had a long talk with Stewie today exclusively for a story that I probably write the next day or two. And I asked Stewie, what did you think about, the fact that honestly, if Parise wasn't hurt, you might have been in Iowa during this time. And he laughed and he said he knows math, and he realized that he very well could have been the odd man out. And he goes, it's just amazing what happens sometimes in professional sports. This does have a lot to do with him getting in positions where he's playing with great players. So he's getting good ice time. The other night on a 5-on-3, he's out there. When has Stewie ever been on a 5-on-3 in Minnesota? And so this is like Stewie circa 2010. He said he's seen all the tweets, the funny lines from people. And he's just excited about the way that he's playing. He looks to me to be in better shape than he's been in years past year, although he says that really weight-wise he's not, and Boudreaux said that he's not. But it just seems like when I look at Stewie off the ice now, like a lot of times why you don't see him quoted after games in the newspapers is because the second that game ends, he's out of his gear and he's going to go work out. And so like the beat writers, I'm not so much on Deadline anymore, but the beat writers that are on Deadline, they can't wait for him to finish his workout for 20 minutes.
We call it the Joe Mauer effect.
Yeah. But that's not him just being like he's now has a routine that he is in with Sean Skane, the strength guy, because he's a big man that, hey, I relate to that, not being the big man, but big width-wise. He's somebody that if, he easily get out of sorts during a hockey season. And so I think that his whole thing is now, watch what he eats, get on a bike after a game, especially if he doesn't play big minutes to burn off some calories. But he looks faster to me on the ice. He looks really good.
To me. He looks really good. And I've never been a great, fan/supporter of his, but he's playing great right now when they really need it most. Eric Vigo, or I think it's Vigo, asked about the Athletic. You already addressed that. Bill asked, did Pominville have any value outside of Buffalo with his NMC? Taking back Ennis has been a drag with his current role. Was Bruce Boudreau consulted? You kind of touched on that in terms of the salary cap implications. They had to move some people.
Yeah, say that again. It was Boudreau.
Oh, was Boudreau consulted about the Pominville for Ennis deal?
I'm sure he was, but I think it's very clear that he's not enamored with his game right now. And the reason why I say that is they're down 4 top 6 forwards, and he's on the 4th line.
Yeah, no kidding.
Playing 9 minutes or 10 minutes. So
from Reed Rothschild. Why do the majority of Minnesota Wild fans hate Greenlane LaPanta so much? Is that your perception that the majority of Wild fans hate these guys?
I think sometimes we all get like what people say on Twitter. We all think that's like just what the opinion of the vast majority of people. I mean, I don't get that impression at all. Trust me, when I'm around town with LaPanta, people come up to him like he's the god that he thinks he is.
Well, he's not. Nobody could be the guy he thinks he is. Let's not go that far. It is amazing, though. I mean, I'm a sports columnist. I draw fire, and I can't tell you how often my wife gets compliments and nice things said, and people to my face come up and say nice things, and then if you read my Twitter comments, you think I was Charles Manson. From Joe Rollwagon, it seems like. Oh boy, I'm having trouble reading this one, so we're gonna skip that one. From Lawrence Alberts, do NHL GMs tend to go the extra mile with first-round picks, not to personally look bad for the selection, like Fletcher and Dumba?
Well, I definitely think that a lot of GMs look at their own players with scout's eyes always. Although in saying that, he traded Alex Tuck and felt no shame there. Although I'm sure he wasn't beloved about it. But, the Dumba thing, I do think there was a lot of influences there. I think Scott Stevens, before he left, really loved Dumba and wanted him to stay. I do think Bruce Boudreau really campaigned to keep Dumba. And inside management, I can't tell you exactly the way that they felt, but clearly this is the move that they made. And it still is young in this guy's career, but with hockey players, it's not just talent and skill and it's knowing the game, it's understanding the game, it's hockey sense and things like that. And there just seems like defensively some deficiencies that he has that just sometimes he goofs up. But again, he's very, very early. I remember my early years covering Burns, and he had been in the year for a couple of years. I mean, he had some bonehead plays. And sometimes when you have all this talent offensively, you forget, your role in your own zone. And, just on Chris Stewart. I mean, Chris Stewart said that I've always been red line in, able to score. It's red line back that all of a sudden, there have been some hiccups. And I think that's the same place with Dumba. And really what Dumba needs to realize is I don't care if you could create 20 goals a year. If you're giving up 50, that's a major, major problem. And clearly the other night in Winnipeg, he just wasn't up to par. I do wonder, and I should ask Bruce this, is that on the winning goal by Wheeler, he and Brodin were stepped a little too close to the blue line because they figured that Koivu and Stahl had the puck in the neutral zone and were going to get further up. Now, if you think about it, as I wrote in training camp, the Wild's new neutral zone system is that the two blue liners aggressively skate almost to the red line on traps, essentially in the neutral zone. And I do wonder that in the old system, if they would have been a little more conservative rather than immediately. So in other words, they were trying to skate up to get to essentially their part where they're supposed to be in the neutral zone. And because the puck all of a sudden transitioned the other way really quick by Connor and Wheeler, both Dumba and Brodin were flat-footed. So I do wonder if the system had a little to do with the way that they looked on that one goal.
A couple more questions from Joe Rollwagon on Kokkonen. Is it Kokkonen?
The
goalie?
Oh, yep.
I just want to make sure
goalie in Finland.
We'll get to that question here in a second. Thanks to Crown Bank, crown-bank.com for sponsoring the program for so long. Crown Bank, locations in downtown Minneapolis and in Edina. I've been by both offices. Crown Bank is the place to do business.
Your banking relationship should match your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle is to live well, you want Crown Bank. You want a bank and a banker who will give you what you want and what you need without a hassle. Crown Bank is responsive. From ordering checks to making you a loan, they build a relationship with you that will help you get what you want so that you can live well. Crown Bank. It's a lifestyle choice and the place to do business. Member FDIC.
So Kokkonen, is he Joe Rollwagon is asking, is he a viable goalie option in the next few years?
I haven't seen enough of him. He might be a forward option in the next couple of years if he keeps scoring goals the way that he does in Finland.
From Cody Pollock, if Parise really is going to get the surgery, what are the options to fill his role in the lineup? Is there somebody who can play his role?
I don't really think so. I think they're just going to have to continue kind of filling in the way that they do. I do think Luke Kunin and Justin Kloos will be the two guys that are called up for tomorrow's game. For Kloos, it'll be in his NHL debut if he does play. So maybe Kunin can eventually get to that point if they start playing him up in the lineup. And it should be that guy, but he's right now getting that opportunity from Bruce. Maybe he doesn't earn it. Again, because we don't think that Parise is going to be done for the year as of now, it's hard for them to just put him on LTI and go acquire a $7 million forward. Because, again, they're eventually going to have to get below the cap. So the fact that this is only a 2-month surgery means to me that they're probably going to have to kind of continue to stopgap.
Right. From Joe Rogers, which questions have you enjoyed more? Backstrom, expansion, Kaprizov, or the LTIR rule?
All of those just made and I'm not even kidding, my heart just palpitated. I'm not even exaggerating. It just did when you mentioned Kaprizov.
Take a deep breath. Yeah. From Davis Bailey, assume others ask about the D pairs and Parise, so I'm hearing Kunin's name way more than X during broadcast, and he seems to have earned Boudreau's trust. Do you agree?
Yeah, I wonder that when all of a sudden if Granlund comes back and then soon Niederreiter comes back, that maybe if they can only have one of the two here, I wonder if they try Eriksson Ek in the minors and keep Kunin here. Eriksson Ek I thought he was good in Winnipeg the other day, but I don't know. He disappears too much, and I know he's young, but man, this is where you want your young kids to really step up, and he's getting the opportunity. So it'd be nice for him to get in more offensive positions to help produce.
From Ryan, compare the NHL offsides challenge penalty if you're wrong with the new NCAA rule only allowing a challenge if the defense doesn't get possession.
Say that again?
Compare the NHL offside challenge penalty if the team is wrong with the new NCAA rule only allowing a challenge if the D doesn't get possession. Does that make sense?
That's interesting. I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Plus, I'm distracted because I'm trying to tweet this Kunin Kloos scoop. So hang on.
All right. Well, while you're tweeting that, I will remind people that, again, we are reaching a lot of people in terms of ad impressions with our new player. I know some people have taken a while to adjust to the new player, but the new player is great for our sponsors, our advertisers. We're reaching millions of people, putting out millions of ad impressions through the player, in addition to the actual just listens to the ads. So if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the other shows at mnspn.com, you can reach out to me or my business partner, SCOTTYELLE@gmail.com.
Plan for tomorrow today. It sounds easy, but for many people it's not. The good news is, planning for your financial future isn't something you have to do all by yourself. Visit sandvoldfinancialgroup.com to request more information and ask for the tax-efficient insight of Todd Moritz, CPA.
Registered representative of and independent of Questar Capital Corporation. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Questar Asset Management.
Are you back with us, Michael?
Almost.
Okay, from Kelly Riley. Don't answer this question if you really know what is going on with Parise. What is really going on with Parise? Okay.
I tweeted what's really going on. I wrote the article that's going on with him.
Will you be doing a Periscope when Parise's back surgery?
That I'm definitely not doing.
From Andrew Silgen, when Riley was assigned to Iowa on Saturday night, did he physically fly to Iowa, or was it strictly a paper move?
I think that he flew there. He might have flown here and it'd be a paper move, but I don't think he was on their charter coming back from. I saw him at lunch that day, but I don't think he was on their charter going back the next day, but I could be wrong.
From MJ, a loyal listener to a bunch of our shows, what is the upside with Staylock, steadying the net, et cetera? Did you used to cover the Florida Panthers? How's Mom and the dog?
Mom and the dog, great. I did cover the Panthers. The upside for Staylock is, I think good. Man, the other night he was great, Jim. It was just unbelievable watching him. And it's a shame they gave up the couple goals. It was one of the games where he deserved to give up like nothing. But look, Dubnyk's still the number one right now. I'd bet anything that Dubnyk's starting Tuesday against the Canucks. Now, who's starting Thursday? I can't tell you yet.
From our friend John Hedges, who I mentioned earlier. Okay, come on, phone. Are the AHL referees also cracking down on slashes like the NHL refs?
Yes, I believe they are. Usually one goes with the other.
All right. I think those are the best Twitter questions of the day. Thank you.
Although
for
I don't think
in.
Christoph Birchie got the message that one game, the home game here.
What else? What haven't we gotten to that you want to get to here, Michael? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We're talking about so much about the salary cap this year. What kind of financial shape is the NHL in?
I think it's good. Most every game I go to is sold out and things like that. The TV contracts could always be better, but local TV contracts, especially in this market, are gigantic. And the Canadian dollar is starting to inch its way up. For the first time in a long time, I went to Canada this past week, and the Canadian dollar was 80 cents on the U.S. dollar. So, wow. Normally it was like the last couple of years, it's been at 72 when I was there. So I think it's definitely getting better.
See any music lately?
I went to the Imagine Dragons concert at the X last week. Went with Paul Fletcher. It was amazing. He got us awesome seats just to the left of the stage, 7 rows up. And I love Imagine Dragons, and I just think Dan Reynolds is just, he talked that night about the Vegas tragedy. Remember, they're a Vegas band. He talked about mental health and depression, and when he does it in these, just an eloquent way. I've gotten to meet him through Paul a couple times. He seems like the whole band seems like just tremendous people. And I just think their live show, their music is unbelievable watching them live. There's really not one song I don't absolutely love. And just when you see them live, especially, I think this was the 5th time I've seen them in concert. Seen them 3 times at the X, once for the free show they did at TCF Bank Stadium during the baseball All-Star game. Remember that when they Major League Baseball flew them charter first class from London just for the day.
Yep.
And then I saw them at Basilica Block Party one year. I could have sworn, maybe I'm wrong, but look this up. I think they were at the Basilica Block Party in 2012, right after the Parise Suter signing, because I remember I did at the Star Tribune an anatomy of how they signed Parise and Suter, and I remember it was such a stressful story to write, to try to get all the inside details for the story that we wrote on this for the Sunday piece I wrote. And I remember being all ecstatic to just finally leave my condo after 5 days of the Parise Suter stuff and just walk to the Basilica Block Party. And I think it was to see Imagine Dragons. So just to show you where they've come from, that they're playing the Basilica Block Party, the church stage, which is like the smaller stage there, to this. So hopefully I have that memory.
A friend of mine I talked to this morning was in Vegas around, the horrible events, but, just to leave that behind for a moment, he said that he thinks that Vegas is becoming a real sports town. He sees Raiders jerseys everywhere.
Yeah.
He said people are completely fired up about the hockey
Well,
team.
my buddy Craig Minervini is the Florida Panthers and Marlins announcer. He went to the Blues Vegas game the other night, and he said it was just a crazy atmosphere there, and it wasn't just all out-of-town Blues fans coming to the game, that there were hometown fans there. So that's good. I mean, winning helps too, and they've gotten off to an incredible 6-1 start.
Do you have a final thought for us, Mike?
No, just again, I'm pretty sure we're going to wake up on Tuesday at some point on Tuesday or Wednesday and find out that Parise had surgery on Tuesday. That's fairly confident in that.
He's Michael Russo. This is the Russo-Souhan Show. Check out all of our shows at mnspn.com or the Mixed Sports Radio Facebook page. We'll have more developments about the business coming up. And reach out to Scott Yell if you'd like to advertise with us. Thanks as always to our loyal listeners. We will talk to you next week.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on. Switch to Metro and get 1 full Amazon Prime membership included every month. Plus, get 2 free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens. All with 2 lines for just $90. That's the best deal in wireless, only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Offer subject to change. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Amazon Prime has a $12.99 per month value. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.
How do you keep your family healthy this season when it feels like everyone around you is getting sick? I use Sambicol. It's drug-free and scientifically tested to help support your immunity. Sambicol has the power of black elderberry in every purple bottle. It comes in tablets, syrup, chewables, or my kid's favorite, the great-tasting gummies. So this cold and flu season, support your family's immunity with Sambicol Black Elderberry. It's the only one I trust for my family. And best of all, my kids love it too.